2026 is here, and while we don't know every new rock release that's coming out this year, we have a pretty good idea of some of the big new rock titles coming out in the next few months from bands like Megadeth, Kula Shaker, Newfound Glory, Rob Zombie, and more. So there are definitely some big rock releases to keep our eyes on and our ears on. So here it is, the 2026 rock music preview. Coming out on January the 9th, we have Alter Bridge and their new self-titled record. It's hard to believe, but this is the 8th studio album coming from Alter Bridge, which of course features members of Creed, along with vocalist Miles Kennedy, who is well known as a solo artist, but is best known for working with Slash. And taking a listen to the singles that have already been released from this record, they are appropriately riffy, they are appropriately chuggy. Silent Divide in particular has a huge chorus, along with some of the other new songs like What Lies Within and Playing Aces. These songs are sure to please longtime Alter Bridge fans. Coming out on January the 23rd, we have Megadeth and their self-titled record, Megadeth. Megadeth are billing their 17th studio album as their final album, but is it really going to be their final album? It's so hard to tell, but the band intends to support this album with a 3 to 5 year farewell tour, so it's not like Megadeth are going anywhere anytime soon. There have already been 3 singles released from this record. They're all pretty good, but I particularly like Let There Be Shred, which does feature some pretty wicked shredding, but that is to be expected because this is fucking Megadeth. On January the 30th, Yumi Zuma releases No Love, Lost to Kindness. New Zealand pop rock band Yumi Zuma are one of my favorite bands on the planet right now. I love their music. In fact, they were my #1 artist on my 2025 Spotify Wrapped. And we've already heard a good chunk of this album before it even comes out. The band released 6 tracks from the record as singles in 2025, including Bashville on the Sugar, Blister, which was one of my favorite tracks of 2025, and Phoebe's Song, all of which have been really great. So I'm really looking forward to this being a strong release for early 2026. Plus, I have tickets to go see them live in Toronto this year, so can't wait to see Yumi Zuma in the flesh. Before we continue, guys, if you like this video, make sure to toss me a thumbs up. I'd very much appreciate that. And if you like the channel, if you want to talk more about our favorite rock music and just hang out, make sure to smash the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. All right, let's get back to it. Also on January the 30th, Brit rockers Cast released their new album, Yeah Yeah Yeah. All right, I have a confession to make. I have to admit that I've never really listened to Cast, even though I'm a huge Brit rock fan. It's one of my favorite genres of music. But you know what? I think that has to change in 2026 because obviously Cast was one of the openers on the Oasis Live 25 reunion tour. So they were among the chosen to be on stage before Oasis. And they have really their place in the pantheon of great 90s Brit rock bands. And it's never too late to become a Cast fan. I dig what I've heard so far. Poison Vine, that song in particular has some great soul vocals in the chorus and a nice little stomp to it. So you know what? I'm looking forward to this. Also on January the 30th, Kula Shaker released their new album, Worm Slayer. January the 30th is a popular date, evidently, for Brit rock bands and releasing their new records because Kula Shaker are releasing their 8th studio album. And you know what? It sounds promising. Good Money is probably their best single in a really long time. On February the 6th, Jay Buchanan releases his first solo album, Weapons of Beauty. The lead vocalist of Rival Sons is releasing his first solo record, and although he's most well known for his incredible vocal range and his fiery live performances, he's actually taking things down a notch to a more acoustic, intimate sound like we hear on the first single, Caroline. Now, there may be some Rival Sons-esque rockers on this record, but I think for the most part, Jay Buchanan is going to be leaning into that more roots rock and country-ish kind of sound, which is fine with me because he's got one of the best voices in rock and can pretty much sing anything. Also on February the 6th, Pussifer released their new album, Normal Isn't. I have to admit that I've never really listened to the other band of Tool singer Maynard James Keenan, although he also has a Perfect Circle, so I guess this would be his other band. But I checked out the singles that were released before this record came out and actually really dig it. I think it's pretty cool. Self-Evident is really cool. It's got a killer bass riff on it, very vibey, very neat. A little bit of that Tool sound going on, but that's to be expected because it's Maynard. And then Pendulum has a great Depeche Mode-esque beat that I really loved. And since it takes Tool like a decade to make a new album, we got to dig into those side projects, kids. Also on February the 6th, Silver Sun Pickups released their new album, Tenterhooks. Silver Sun Pickups was the shit when their debut album, Carnivas, came out in 2006 with the song Lazy Eye, which was all over the radio. They've continued to make music ever since and are coming up on their 7th studio album. And here's a cool fact for you. This new album from Silver Sun Pickups was produced by Butch Vig, of course known as the drummer of Garbage, as well as producer extraordinaire for bands like Nirvana and the Smashing Pumpkins and Foo Fighters. And the band have already released a couple of tracks from this new album, and I dig it. I haven't listened to a lot of Silver Sun Pickups since that debut album, but New Wave is a cool track. It's definitely worth checking out, and I think this has a cool feel to it, so I'm very much looking forward to reviewing this album on the channel. On February the 13th, Mumford & Sons released Prize Fighter. Mumford & Sons have been keeping very busy in the studio because they just released a new studio record called Rushmere in 2025, so here they are in 2026 with a follow-up. And if songs like Rubber Band Man are any indication with his gentle guitar picking and soft vocals, it should make longtime Mumford & Sons fans very happy because it's totally within their wheelhouse. On February the 20th, New Found Glory released Listen Up. I really like New Found Glory, and I followed them on and off over the years. Obviously, they had their early 2000s pop punk heyday when they made their name, but then over the years, they've released some really solid albums, including 2014's Resurrection and 2017's Makes Me Sick. And they haven't changed their sound in over 20 years. They still do that same old pop punk stuff, although their riffs have gotten a little bit heavier over the years. But you know what? That's not a bad thing at all because the songs are still super strong and catchy, and there's always some tasty riffage on the menu, especially on new tracks like Laugh It Off. Definitely looking forward to this New Found Glory record coming out in February. On February the 27th, Rob Zombie releases The Great Satan. Rob Zombie is always one of my go-to picks for my Halloween playlist every year. Shout out to Dragula and Living Dead Girl. Love those songs, but I don't really listen to Rob Zombie much outside of the spooky season. I don't really know why this record is coming out in February as opposed to October, because that would seem to make the most sense for this record to come out, but I'm hoping that The Great Satan scratches that itch of some really spooky tunage. And the first couple of singles are appropriately zombie. Heathen Days has the heavy detuned riffage, and Punks and Demons is pretty badass as well. Consider me excited, or at the very least, intrigued. And coming out on March the 20th, we have Gorillaz and The Mountain. I don't listen to a lot of Gorillaz, but when I do, I always love it. New Gold from their last album, Cracker Island, is a great track, and these singles released from this record, The Mountain, are pretty cool as well. Damon Albarn is a super creative dude. Like, I've never really subscribed to the whole Oasis versus Blur thing, so I love hearing his new stuff, and the track, The Happy Dictator, is giving me major 90s Blur vibes. And that is it so far for our 2026 rock music preview. Obviously, this list only goes up to March, but not a lot of releases past March or big rock releases have been officially announced. I know there's lots of rumored albums coming out in 2026 and a lot of albums that aren't on this list, but that's where you come in. Hop into the comments below. Let me know which rock albums in 2026 or just albums in general in 2026 that you're looking forward to, because I'm sure I missed some on my list, but I'm looking forward to a lot of these records. I'm looking forward to Gorillaz, Rob Zombie sounds cool, the New Found Glory stuff, Silver Sun Pickups, Pussifer, Jay Buchanan. I guess I could pretty much list everything, but there's a lot of great stuff coming out in 2026. I'm very much looking forward to reviewing a lot of these albums here on the channel, so keep your eyes and ears peeled for that. If you like this video, make sure to toss me a thumbs up. I'd very much appreciate that. Make sure to smash the subscribe button so you don't miss out on future videos. And here we are, guys, 2026, first video of the year. Done, in the can. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you guys again for another video here on the channel. Until then, rock on, everybody.